Today is April 30th, 2024. It is currently 1:47 p.m. And I just downloaded this software called WavePad by NCH Software. And this is free at the Windows Store, Windows Play Store, whatever this is, Microsoft Store. Here it is. And basically, this is going to show everybody exactly what a noise campaign is and what I've been going through. So in this, we're going to see digital amplified infrasound. And this is being played right now extremely quietly in comparison to what I typically go through. There's going to be digital bird chirps that the birds hear, and then they start chirping back to it. So that's why it sounds like there's a whole fucking flock of birds in my bushes, even though it's probably just one bird being continually tricked by this transmission. And you can tell that it's digital here. So it like guarantees everything. And it's not just about being right, because this doesn't just have to do with my life. The reason why I started opening up about what I'm going through is because there's a recurring theme here in America where corruption happens and then it is covered up by whole cities, by entire administrations, by entire district attorney's offices. It happens over and over. If you have a Netflix account, just go through documentaries today and see how many crime stories that are relevant to targeting. Because if you look at the chemist in Massachusetts, who they knew was a drug addict, and they still let fuck up 30,000 cases while she was stealing evidence the entire time that she was supposed to be a doing chemical analysis on evidence. There was those social workers that allowed that young boy, the Latino boy, to get adopted to an abusive home. And there's so many more instances of corruption. And this is one that we might not hear about for another 5 years, except for from independent sources like myself, like Havana Marlena. And targeted justice could do a lot better. They could make a 100% better effort. Their effort is not cutting it, and that's why you've got so many people trying to help, like myself, like Havana Marlena, excuse me, I'm saying her name wrong. And then another TI I talked to on the phone named Catherine. We're all trying to help, and this is going to show part of what I'm going through. This is digital sound without a doubt. So I'm going to play this, and then I'll get back to what some goals are. Ideally, I'd like to be able to take this software, in addition to spectrum analysis equipment and or software-defined radio, and show that all three of us, logical, credible human beings, are being harassed with the same technology. And this is not just AI-based, okay? You can use voice clips to harass a person just like you play your favorite songs on Spotify. This is being transmitted continuously. It's as simple as playing a song on a speaker, except they're playing a song on a digital transmitter. And the sources are sometimes the United States government, the military. The sources are sometimes Crown and Castle transceivers. Sometimes it's city transceivers. So this is being transmitted digitally from what looks like cell towers a lot of the time. And it's all possible with advanced physics. These panels, in gigahertz transmission, you can create infrasound. And you're going to see a hell of a lot of this low frequency sound here that is infrasound. Okay, so this is on a linear graph here showing that 100% this is infrasound that we're picking up. So I'm going to show you how abnormal this entire thing sounds. Let me just start at the very beginning here. So that's constant digital female communication, huge heavy bumps of infrasound, and there's digital chirps here that the birds are hearing and then communicating back to. So it's audible for birds, it's audible for this microphone, it's audible for me as a human being. This is what I'm being harassed with. This woman that's tried to attack my character is one of the sources. Okay? The police and the FBI have not investigated because I am on a non-investigative subject list, partially because of this situation with this individual, and then also this happened prior to that. So this has been going back to 2015 when I made contact via FCC guidelines to say, hey, you're causing interference to my home in one way or another. You don't have to quote it. That's exactly the moral of the story is that is why I made contact that day. She lied, submitted doctored footage that only showed from a Ring doorbell camera my mother talking to a woman on the Ring doorbell camera, initials MP, talking to my mother, initials JB, and then me, also initials JB, was being communicated to from an unknown source in the immediate area, just like this sound is transmitted, and then at that point in time I'm being threatened. Now, when I say you are a cunt, at that point in time, excuse my language, everyone, but that is what I said. Now, that does not mean I was trespassing. You know, that's my First Amendment right to say you are being a cunt. Now, when through the doorbell, Ring doorbell, they say, okay, you guys need to leave. At that point in time, within a minute, we are leaving, exiting. So that's not trespassing. Asked to leave, we left. I didn't linger. I didn't do anything. I left within the same minute that I was asked to leave. So that's not trespassing. I tried to rectify the situation as suggested in the FCC guidelines. It didn't work. These people falsely committed perjury and sit in that video from that Ring doorbell being the only instance of me ever appearing in these people's lives. At that point in time, I still don't even know their names. Then they filed false police reports trying to accuse me of felonious harassment, felonious stalking. So that's done on purpose. That's perjury to attack my character. Now, when the court system looks at this, they tell me the entire time, this person's attacking you. This person is using the legal system to attack you. Now, why the fuck is there not a series of things that occur after the fact to help me when this person is doing that? You know, they toss the first couple times she reports this, and then she keeps on going after the same thing. Then that's another thing also. That's double jeopardy, because there was already a judgment made where it's dismissed. Now, to try the same thing a second time, that's double jeopardy. That's illegal. Now, for a third time for it to be acknowledged, it should have been never allowed to be seen again after submitting the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And for it to have a judgment on it each time as well. Dismissed. Dismissed. Now the same person's making the same argument. It's now 2020 during fucking coronavirus when she's trying to say that I was in the wrong by going literally by the book saying, hey, I'm being interfered with. Seems like it's happening from your house. These female voices seem like it's coming from you guys. And I'm totally within my right to say that. So what I can show you here is, for a fact, there is female communication hidden inside of here. And there's also digital bird chirps alongside with it, as well as infrasound, heavy infrasound waves. That is not a vehicle, is not an airplane, it's being transmitted as well. So that's another thing, is that's my coughing, is you can hear my coughing completely outside right now. My microphone's set up outside. So why the fuck can you hear my coughing so clearly while it's completely outside? That's another mystery here. So this highest point right here is 200 hertz, 170 hertz. So that's a hell of a lot of infrasound activity. In addition to all this speech that's in the audible range. So that's constant chitter chatter, like female gossip that they transmit at me. That's exactly what it sounds like. And most of the time you can't even hear what they're saying or tell what they're saying, but it's just constant female whispering, gossipy shit like that transmitted at me. That's literally identical to what I hear right now. So that's amplified plane or vehicle sound. That's how strong and how amplified this shit is. As you see this gigantic hump right there. Now that is not a naturally occurring sound in anyone's environment. You know, it just isn't. That sounds like a fucking fighter jet. Okay? So those are digital bird chirps, and you're going to hear a real bird pop in there and start talking to that. See? I just did it. See? Those are digital bird chirps. You can tell by where it's hitting on here. The real bird is hitting only right here, sound-wise. Every time. So that was digital again. You saw it spike up like a voice wave. I can just guarantee it. I promise to everybody. I promise on God I am right about this. Let's see what's in the rest of this. I think you can start hearing me in the background here, so let's see. If that's the case, I'm going to stop it. Nope, it's still them. So I thought I might be audible in this, but no, it's still just the harassment voice clips that are constantly running. And this is not regular shit here. So you go outside with a microphone, you're going to pick up, and you come in and bring it in and put it onto an audio, some way to look at the sounds that you're receiving, right? Then maybe you'll see some abnormalities. But this is really telling here. What's truly happening is this is the female tone whisper speech that I am constantly hearing, especially at this house. And you heard and saw that just now. So that was something that you would not see or catch. Let me try to go back. I don't know how to go back just a little bit yet. I'm still new to this software. All right, here we go. Here it is. Okay, so that was digital. That was a huge, heavy infrasound transmission. And what that does is that just kind of, first of all, it spooks you out. You know what I mean? The first thing it does, it freaks you the fuck out. And then also, being in the infrasound range, this is the fear sound range. So it kind of scares you also. It kind of engineers anxiety when you hear this type of sound. Like a lion's roar or a tiger's roar is in the same threshold of sound. Okay, so that's serious. That's not naturally occurring. That just happened. It was just played briefly, and then now it's off. And what else is happening? What else is happening is there's a constant floor here. I'll put this big in the middle of this abnormal sound activity here. And I'm going to be so honest, not only does that sound like female gossipy chitter chatter, that's exactly what I hear. So literally, it's in my backyard. This is angled coming from the west right now. So in between my house and the problem neighbor that committed perjury against me is this microphone. This microphone just happens to be picking up exactly what I'm hearing right now, and it just happens to be exactly that. So just being a logical human being, what are the chances that it's coming from that house? It's likely, right? Exactly. And now when you think about everything that's happened in my life, there's a very strong likelihood that this individual learned about this from doing psyops in the military and is now harassing people with this technology. And is this the first time we've heard about criminal acts done by the United States military? No. Recently, we've got Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning telling their story of American war crimes. And what happened to them? Their lives were ruined. Their work as humanitarians is trying to be destroyed and deleted. Their lives are ruined, and the United States has never faced accountability for those drone strikes that were war crimes. Now, this technology was created as a weapon of war. First and foremost, this is a war weapon. So anybody knowing how to do this, there's a really, 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 really strong likelihood that they are some cog in this military system. And it's a big, elaborate, compartmentalized, shady, lying system. But there is just more likelihood than not that this is all happening, and here's the proof of it. You know what I mean? And I'm not the only person. Okay, so notice how those bird chirps got way, way louder. You can see the differences. Everything just picked up dramatically in volume right here. And what happened is we just had this heavy click happen beforehand. So maybe that's one of these systems turning on, or maybe they engineered more noise with the system being run, so anytime it hears noise, it gets stronger. So what if they know that that's what the system's doing, and then intentionally play a very loud, sharp noise? You see it spike out here, and I'll play it for you. So you hear that loud noise, and then listen to the intensity pick up. that's when they play the plane sound. So that is how horribly intense it is when they're blasting plane rumbling. And while I do live close to an airport, the natural plane sound has never ever been an issue to me. It's this digital sound that is synced up with a plane overhead with plausible deniability. And what person have you ever met in your lifetime that can sync up a noise harassment campaign to a fucking overhead plane and have that running continuously all day? Well, that's a person that has learned about how to do this through the intelligence community or the military. And that is my opinion, and that is the end of today's video. This should be good speech right here. No, it's me. There's some speech. That's definitely them speaking also. So let's see how it sounds with a speed/pitch change. So their speech is 100% here. The software sees it. And as well as you hear that? That's female right there. So I just applied that pitch and tone change. So let's listen to what that sounds like for the entirety of it and see what it does. So they play such a heavy bass rumbling infrasound constantly that you will never hear this stuff unless you put on a low pass filter. So I've got a low pass filter on, so we're listening in closer to that stuff that they're trying to hide. audible in that back beat. That back beat is at the tempo of human communication. And that will be the strongest thing on this graph because it's the lowest sound you're hearing. Those birds are singing. So that was an amplified plane sound. You see how strong and ridiculous it sounds. Or no, that was a car, excuse me. So a car and a plane aren't the same volume. But any sound coming out of a speaker is going to have the same qualities, characteristics, and volume. So you see these two identical sounds. Well, one is supposed to be a car and the other is supposed to be a plane. Well, a car and a plane are different volume levels. Well, you'd think they'd be at different frequencies. But no, both of these bubbles are identical because they're transmitted from the same source. So all of this causes an increased rate of heart failure higher than if we all did cocaine, smoked cigarettes daily, and everything. Being exposed to constant infrasound puts you at the highest risk for heart-related disease. So I'm being literally intentionally carcinogenically irradiated, and then that's not enough for them, so then they want to try to give me fucking heart disease also. That's what infrasound is. That's what our government does. Even Russia has infrasound limits for their suburban environments. Even Russia has suburban limits on infrasound levels. Maybe that's why Edward said, fuck this. Fuck this place. Maybe that's why Edward said, fuck this place. You know what I mean? Because nobody is really, like, no legal entity, no politician, no representative wants this in their life. So they just let us all get fucking tortured with it because they don't want it to add into their life. So nice ethics, guys. Nice ethics. That's the American way, right? Is I'm only going to do the right thing if it's not going to invade my life and how I like to live. Sick ethics. So another thing is this is a system that has various different levels it can run on. They can run it on maximum volume to the point where your head is like vibrating. They can run it to the point where it's just annoying, to the point where they can have just specific sounds that are the most annoying. Like, I'm sure we've all been in our house, right? And there's something that is just annoying the fuck out of us. And you know what it is? It's a sound that's amplified, and there's radio frequency pulses being shot at us in sync with it. So what I can tell you right now for a fact, scientifically for a fact, is this system is advanced to the point that they can take a plain sound, amplify it, and pulse you at the same fucking time that it's annoying to you, to then engineer anxiety about it as well. And that happens all the time. So it's not just a single sound that's being the problem. It's the entire biological attack is a psyop. And at that point in time, if you want to say it's AI, then that's a good time to call it AI because there's so many computer elements doing it. And that's what AI is multiple different computer elements working together. So it's like a computer, except it's 20 different sensors and the computer's processing it all. That's what we think of as AI, except it's now an Internet of Things, a satellite grid, cell towers, and then also private entities that want to partake as well in this shitstorm, because that's totally a possibility. If you think about how easy would it be to be another antagonist in a targeted individual's life? How hard is it to kick somebody that just got kicked? You know what I mean? So the government's in the process of killing somebody. It's like the German government in World War II. It's like you're on your way to Auschwitz, and then the government drone strikes you in a war crime. You know, that's essentially what it is. So I just don't understand how anybody would want to pretend that they're a part of this. You know what I mean? Unless they're actually a fucking part of it. That's my thought process here. So I just don't understand the theater there. Yeah. And then how the fuck do you know about any of this? How does it all align so perfectly? It's not just the CIA manipulating everybody. It isn't. Because at some point in time, a person has to ask themselves. You know what I mean? So they're going along with it. You know what I mean? Even if they're not literally read into it, then they've got to be a willing participant in one way or another. And the vagueness there is in reference to anyone's story. Think about it. So, like, I've got an email from an individual who said that there's two people, a married couple, or I believe that was a story, a married couple that is gained access into this, and they're harassing him. So, why would that not be a scenario that's happened in the past? What makes you think that that's not a thing that's happening right now? Just because you'd rather believe the AI thing? Well, imagine there's a satellite that hackers gained access to, right? And go along for a second with this. Imagine there's a satellite that got hacked into, and now it's transmitting this targeting. Well, did the hackers engineer the entire software? How the fuck did they research that to make it happen? No, it already had the capabilities in the first place. Now, do you think at any point in time the government should say, hey, we've got the ability to wage psyops from miles away on people? You know, this could be adding to our mental health crisis that we've been boasting about in the media. I've never seen such a braggadocious government about a problem. We've got mental health, but you know what? We're going to beat it. We're going to beat it because we're going to ask for billions and billions and trillions of dollars to beat it, and then that'll be our thing that we do. That'll be what our party's known for, is caring about mental health. And you know what? We're going to actually have transcranial stimulation advance to the point where we can cause Manchurian candidates, and we're going to have a domestic terrorism problem that is the worst that anywhere in the world's ever seen, statistically. We're not going to talk about it, though. We're not going to talk about it. Nobody's ever going to really investigate it, though. Nobody's ever going to investigate it. Now, I hate to say it, but the two kids, the Boston Bombers, from everything I gathered from them, they said that they're being targeted by the government. Stephen Paddock, he said he was being targeted by the government. So, like, if you think about how this has shifted, the plan has shifted to engineered domestic violence, engineered domestic violence, engineered domestic violence. You create this scenario where domestic terror is a gigantic thing. And then Jim Jordan comes in and says, no, FBI, you don't deserve a new building. You guys should actually be completely turned into a different organization because of what you've been doing. And what was the topic? Engineering domestic violence. And what does that have to do with? My channel. This is how they do it. This is how they engineer domestic violence. So this is how the worst terror events in United States history have occurred, is with this technology. This technology is used to drive people crazy. It is used to attack their brain states. It is used to constantly surveil a person to the point that their network is known, to the point that that can be a part of the torture. So, for example, like myself with my situation going on here, Am I going to be harassed for the next year? Yes, I am going to be harassed for the next year because of the corruption in place. Because of how money runs the system. Johnny Depp got justice. He proved that that bitch was lying. But you know how much his lawyers cost? That's a hidden statistic. So we hear this beautiful story about how a former drunken pirate wins a legal battle of the century. But at the same time, how much money did it cost? It's all relevant. Now, Havana Marlena tells her story where a lawyer offered to take her case, but for $1 million. Now, I don't know how many millionaire viewers I've got, but how many of you have $1 million cash spending money just for literally trying to get your life back from the government who is attacking you? So you have to go in and submit paperwork to the person attacking you saying, hey, you guys, you remember this whole thing that you funded for 30 years from the 60s? Yeah, well, some jackass decided to turn it against the public, and yeah, I'm fucking suing you about it.